Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? My name is Dominic and I'm joined by
Dane, how you doing?
and this is going to be episode 2. Like I said, we're going to try to get it out on a weekly basis, so for the most part we're going good. So, what have you been playing this week, Dane?
I haven't actually been playing a whole lot. I haven't had a bunch of as you know, with my work, as I've told you this week, my work schedule's been kind of busy, so I haven't really sat down to do anything. But the one thing that I have been doing that's kind of video games related is I picked up the Scott Pilgrim Colored Collection this past week, and I've been reading through that, and I've just kind of been enjoying going back to that after 10 years since the original comics came out and the movie came out, and I'm just kind of excited about the game being re-released shortly this year.
Nice, that's right. I forgot that Ubisoft has the publishing rights to that, right? But
Yeah, I don't know what the story is for that. I think it was something to do with Xbox Arcade.
Okay, that makes sense.
I could be completely wrong though on that. I don't know all the whole story off the top of my head on that.
So, I've been playing a lot of 3D Mario. I actually just finished the Super Mario 64 video, which is out on my channel if you want to take a look at it. I'm working on Sunshine now, and I will have an update video that I plan on posting, just kind of like what I plan on doing for the rest of the year, because we have the Crown Tundra coming out in
oh yeah, that's
soon. Yeah, which I literally just thought of now. But yeah, so I'm on Sunshine now. It's actually really funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. You ever have a game where you have just so much nostalgia for, so much, so many fond memories, and you're like, oh, I love that game, but you haven't played it in years.
Yeah.
It's literally just deep within your memory, and you're like, that game is great. So many people have constantly just hated on it, and you're like, why? That game is lovely. And then you play it, and then you're like, yeah, I get it.
I mean,
that's what
fun.
I'm starting to feel with Sunshine. There's so many moments where it's just like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. I picked up the 3D All Stars collection as well, and Sunshine was the one that I was most looking forward to. I got a few hours into the game, few levels, and I did the Mecha Bowser fight, and I just kind of dropped off of it. It's just didn't really hold my attention like I thought it would.
I have about 23 Shine Sprites. So it's kind of going from 64, which was the first time I actually played 64, and it's not as linear as Sunshine, right? You can go into one of the paintings or one of the levels, and you can get star 6 first. You can get star 5 first. You can get the 100 coin star. You can get the red star. So that really open world, that just non-linear level progression is great, because some of these older games, there's a lot of moments where you're kind of just scratching your head. It's not terribly difficult, but you're just very vague, right? Literally in Super Mario 64, it's slide, and you're like, what? You know what I mean? So you obviously, you go to the slide, race, whatever it may be, but Super Mario 64 does not have that. So as soon as you go into one of the levels, you have to get that Shine Sprite.
Do you mean Sunshine? Because you said 64.
Oh yes, Sunshine. Yes, Sunshine. You have to get that Shine Sprite in order, right? So let's say you're at one of the freaking Shine Sprites where Shadow Mario takes Flood, and you're on one of those painful levels. You have to just stick with it, and it's not terrible, right? It's not as bad as. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember breezing through those.
Have you tried the pachinko level yet?
No.
You mean you should be at a point?
I'm dreading it. I was literally so.
I mean, it's a side thing. It's in the the Delfino Plaza area.
Is it the one where you have to use the rocket nozzle and shoot up from right next to the dolphin? The dolphin statue?
No. There's the boat. After a certain point, boat starts going around. You get on top of the boat, and the boat goes under an overpass, goes through a small tunnel or an overpass thing. And there's a hole there, and you jump up through it, and takes you into the pachinko level. That was legit, I think, the last thing I did.
Yeah, that's a good...
I've accidentally found the pachinko level, and I was just like, this can't be as bad as everyone claims it is, or how bad it is. And I was just like, gave it a few tries. I was just like, no, it's as bad as everyone says it is.
That, I mean, yeah, that's definitely an exercise in patience for sure. Speaking of just difficult things in that game, the Manta boss, I actually beat that my first try.
I mean, like,
Everyone gives that boss like and I could understand why. It's definitely pretty tricky, but like I was like, hey, I beat it first try. That was pretty cool. And honestly, what I did,
the Manta boss, like, I don't remember that being hard. I mean, like, I suppose more like it's just like a lot to manage because like it's like starts out as one big manta and then it just like keeps separating, right?
The issue is it's kind of I guess it's just the enemy itself, but essentially like it covers the ground in that goop, and it's if you stand in it you get shocked.
Yeah.
But the mantas will fling you, and like you could essentially they could fling you into another one. That one will fling you into, so you essentially could just get hit and just not.
Yeah, it just seems like a lot to manage.
It is, and so what I did is I just stood in the corner and used flood
to you can spin in a circle and like shoot the water around.
I literally just spammed that in the corner, and that I didn't do that the entire time, but I did it enough to where I could like kind of get around and be like, okay, I think I could handle the rest of these guys now. But I don't want to get too much into Sunshine because I have something planned for that. What I do want to talk about, though, is the Crown Tundra, which I literally forgot was coming out. It's actually coming out this coming Tuesday. Are you looking forward to it? Is there anything that is it going to bring you back into Sword and Shield, or are you just kind of?
I'm definitely gonna I imagine it's gonna be like a weekend project for me because like as I've stated before, I've done the whole Pokedex thing. So
yeah, that's actually how do you like knowing that you essentially have, you've completed the living Pokedex. This is a live Pokedex, right? You literally have one of everyone.
Yeah.
Knowing that essentially this DLC is bringing back legendaries and stuff like that, are you going into it more for exploration and just you want to enjoy the game a little more?
Yeah,
because obviously,
I want to enjoy the game a bit more. It's just like, and also it's just like it'll be interesting because you have all these new forms, or I'm not 100% sure what the Reggie situation is. I'm not. Those are new Reggies, right? They're not.
Yeah, they're no.
They're not regional variants on the other Reggies. Like
it's actually.
I'm pretty sure it's like a Reggie, like a Dragon Reggie, and like some and like other ones. Like those are new types of Reggies. They're not like not. Like,
I don't think it's like a Alolan like variants kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the birds are a different story.
Yeah, those are variants. Yeah. But they're like I think they're all fighting. Something types like I think Zapdos is definitely like fighting electric. I think now,
no, Zapdos is they're all like Zapdos is like lightning flying or electric flying. Oh, the new form.
The new form.
Yeah, I think most of them have some of that in them. To be honest, though, I think some actually yes they do have a decent amount but they haven't really caught my eye. Like I don't know. I think the whole like just legendary Pokemon in general, like right, growing up and playing the games, and even actually until like kind of to Sun and Moon, they still felt like legendary Pokemon, and even then it was like they were on the cusp of a legendary Pokemon. Now they're just like, hey, I got like 500 Mews. Do you want one? And they've just lost that spark
legendary
for me so
like
much.
Used to mean something.
When the mythical Pokemon somewhat do because they're kind of some are still tied to events, but for the most part, it's just like for instance in 2016 when they did the you had to go to like your local GameStop, Best Buy, whatever it may be, and you got a new mythical every month. That was awesome. Like I really look forward to that. I got one every chance that I could. But then it was just like it started. I don't know. I was just kind of like, these are a dime a dozen now.
That 2016 event was like the reason why I went through and did the live decks because I was just like that was the year I was just like, oh, I can actually have a full living dex with no holes in it this year. So
yeah, I tried that and no, I got probably. I don't even think I've got through the Kanto region, and that's just so time consuming. And it was fun because I was playing through each game again, and that was really. But once I finished,
I didn't
I
play
was
through
just
each game. It was just like
I played through.
No, it was like mean, like, this is kind of what I'm looking forward to the Crown Tundra. Is just like the thing I really enjoyed in that year was in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So like at the time, like you could play X and Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, and in those 4 games you could get every single Pokemon. Oh, so oh, so I played. The thing that I really enjoyed though was in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they had the Soar feature, and then you had all the Mirage Pokemon. So it was just like I really enjoyed like the Mirage Pokemon was just like what day of the week it is, like what Pokemon are in your party, and it was just like
I completely forgot about that.
Like there was like a sense of exploration and there reason to come back to the game like every day in the week.
It actually brought back so many memories because I remember when I played, when I finished Alpha Sapphire, I was like, "What now?" And right around that time, so actually I bought the games when they came out. I played them and just didn't touch them for like years, or like maybe it was a year and a couple months afterwards. But it was around the Hoopa event because I remember the Hoopa event was done through Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and that's when I was like, hey, it was kind of cool. And then that's when I figured out about the Mirage Pokemon and like what day of the week it had to be and all these other, that's right. That did bring me, I forgot about that because it brought me back to the game.
Yeah. So like, I'm hoping like that the Crown Tundra with like with all these new legendaries, I hope it kind of feels like all the Mirage Pokemon for me is just like, it's fun trying to like hunt down the things and like, okay, well, I need to have this Pokemon or I need to do this thing to get it or something like that, where like there's things that you have to work through in the game to actually go find the Pokemon. It's not like, okay, well, you're gonna go to Route 3 and you're gonna walk around in this grass until you find the thing. It's just like there's something special about like having to like actively go look for that one Pokemon and like having to have everything set up in your party to actually go get it.
Yeah, as long as it's not tedious, because that just also brought back terrible memories of like playing the original Ruby and Sapphire. And I remember there were some Pokemon where it was like, I think it was like, it might have been I don't. There were some where you had to meet this criteria that was just like.
Are you talking about like
stand on the left tile facing right and have a Pikachu at level 9, and you're like, I remember some of that in Sapphire and Ruby, and like I was like, really, all of this for this one? It was oh gosh.
Well, Spirit and Ruby. I mean, Omega Sapphire and Ruby, like when they first had Spirit Tomb. No, that was
Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
That one was kind of tricky.
Spirit Tomb was hard to get because like you had to do like a whole bunch of stuff in the underground, I think, first.
Yeah, and you had to get the odd keystone, and actually no, getting the odd keystone itself was pretty simple if I remember. But yeah, everything up to that, and then I don't know. That also kind of brings me to the Reggies and obtaining those when you had to use Braille. Like everyone I know used a guidebook for that. There was no way that you didn't use it. I was like, come on now. And you had to have a Relicanth and something else in your party at the same time. Like that is what I like. That's cool. And we really don't get that a lot. Like those neat puzzles like that. Like especially like in Sapphire, Ruby, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, those kind of puzzles that we would get to. I don't know if you remember those in like caves and stuff like that. We really don't get that as much. Like we kind of had it in... no, we really didn't have it in X and Y. I think X and Y was when they kind of did decline on that sense. Yeah. There were some where it was like you had to use strength here and there and move some boulders, but it wasn't anything like
they were
on the
more
scope.
Roadblocks than puzzles. It was just like,
that's a great way
just like, it's like in Zelda, it's just like, well, you want to go to here? Well, you gotta have this item from such and such a place, and unlocks like another part of, like having that thing like unlocks in the next part of the world.
And speaking of those puzzles, I've like hidden this for years because like every Pokemon fan says this and they're like, I like HMs and I like finding the HMs. Like every time we get a new game or new game's coming, like everyone's like, no HMs, yes. I'm like, no, I liked them. Like
I don't like having that one Pokemon that's just like my HM slave. It's like, well, it's just like it's just like, like Vibero or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just
or
like had
Bidoof.
that in my team, and it just like only knew HM moves. It's
That
just like
yes, that was a hindrance, and just the fact that like when you're like in the cave and you need strength, and you're like, come on, I gotta teach this. Like that was annoying, but it was the idea of like I don't know. It was I almost thought of it as like take your Final Fantasies like finding like four crystals of the elements kind of thing, right? It was a little deeper, and it gave you something to do. Like for instance, perfect example in Diamond and Pearl when you're going to Snow Point City, you get I think it's rock climb when you're making your way up there, but it's complete. It's you can miss it like so easily. You can literally just miss it, right?
yeah.
And the nice thing is you're like, okay, I need rock climb. Where do I get rock climb? And it's just that like that sense of like exploration. Like you got to find it. Like talking to the NPCs, where could it be? Whereas now it's just like, yeah, you'll get fly like soon. Just relax, or like don't worry, it'll be I don't know. I just like the idea of finding those. But moving on to our first topic that I want to talk about, my Nintendo is actually starting physical rewards similar to Club Nintendo, and I think this is really cool. Like,
I mean, like, yeah, the selection's kind of limited right
yeah,
now, but
for sure.
like, I can imagine that's going to open up a bit. Like, they changed their digital rewards rather rather frequently enough that I think
Yeah.
we're going to get something good. I'm personally holding up onto my tokens because next year Zelda 30th anniversary or
Yeah, 30th.
should be 30th, yeah. It's just like
86,
I
right?
imagine there's going to be something Zelda there, and I'm gonna hold on to my points for that.
Yeah, the selection's not the greatest. I would say the only thing noteworthy is the poster set. I do like that poster set. And then there are some like there's the thing is with like even with the Club Nintendo stuff, no matter a lot of Nintendo fans are gonna buy it and scalp it on eBay and all this stuff, which is a shame. But it's just cool that Nintendo's offering that again, because like back in Club Nintendo days, we got some cool stuff. Like we got the gold nunchuck games that you could get exclusively from there, which is really nice. During the Wii U era, before it ended in 2015, excuse me, you could get games at some point. I remember like, wow, when Nintendo, I don't know, I didn't, obviously they weren't doing great at that time, but you could literally get like if you bought, I remember there were so many promotions where like buy this game and redeem it on Club Nintendo, and you could get like another free game. I remember it might have been around like when Pikmin 3 came out, but there were like crazy deals like that. Obviously, they don't need to do that, and I doubt they're gonna do that. But there were some cool perks on Club Nintendo.
I wish I had just gotten into the Club Nintendo a whole lot earlier because I didn't find out really about Club Nintendo until it's like later years. I was just like, I could have been getting free stuff this whole time.
Yeah,
And
it was a shame. I don't. I think what they have now is nice, and I hope that they move forward with it and keep it going, because it would be kind of odd if they're like, yeah, bring it in for some stuff. But yeah, all in all, I do think it's good.
I mean, like, it's better. I mean, like, I can't really say, oh, it's so bad, it's horrible. I mean, like, because, I mean, like, it's really a lot more than Sony or Microsoft do with theirs. It's just, like,
Yeah.
the fact that we get something where, like, you buy games and you get, like, all the gold, like, you get gold points
Yeah,
or as well to, like, take a little bit money off of other things. It's just, like, it's
Yeah,
just,
$3. It adds up.
yeah, it adds up, and it's just like it's fun. Gives you something back to the fans. So
You
it's
also get it with physical games too.
yeah,
You get
I'm
it's
aware.
like 60 points for a full price game.
Yeah.
And even that adds up. Like I've gotten most games, as you know, I prefer physical, but I'm kind of moving a little towards digital with some stuff like Animal Crossing and stuff like that. You're jumping in and out of. It adds up.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I literally had like $28 just kind of sitting there. I'm like, hey, that's cool.
It really adds up in saving because like, for me when I buy a physical game, like a lot of time I'll go to Target and I have the red card, so it's like 5% off
yeah.
there, and then I get another 5%.
Sorry about that, guys. Slight intermission. Had a little bit of an issue with the audio there. And what were you saying, Dane?
I mean, like I get like go to Target with the red card, you get like 5% off, and then you get if you redeem the gold points on the game card, you also get what basically equates to another 5%. So to me it feels like I'm saving 10% on a game altogether. And with Nintendo games that hardly ever go on sale, I mean, like, that's better than nothing.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about today was video game movies. What's your take on video game films? What are some of your favorite? Some that you think are just total garbage, and some you're looking forward to.
I enjoy video games that I enjoy. Video game movies that I enjoy aren't like really based off of a video game. They're kind of like loosely based around games. Like Wreck-It Ralph is a good game a good movie that's about games, but it's not necessarily an adaptation. It's just like I don't think off the top of my head there's nothing off that goes like, oh, this was a great adaptation of a movie of a video game. It's all like the movies that I enjoy about video games are like about video games. They're like or relate around it. Like Scott Pilgrim is like a movie that's just filled with like punk rock and video game and like very video game things. Like it's like the whole
such an underrated movie.
The whole story is based around like a classic beat 'em up.
Yeah,
it's just like, okay, well, we gotta get the girl, so like we gotta go through and we gotta beat all the bosses. So it's a fun thing. It's just like it plays homage and like has a like it's a celebration of video games without having to be an adaptation of a game.
Yeah, I think recently we've seen a huge I mean, Hollywood's really kind of just taken it and just ran with it. As many of you may know, might not know, we do have a Monster Hunter film adaptation that's coming out. But before that, we've had Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I forgot about Detective Pikachu.
I mean, and there have been more before that, but lately I think they're doing okay. Like Detective Pikachu was a serviceable film. Because you can I feel like video game movies fall into three categories, right? There's video game movie, which is just a bad movie. There's just it was alright, it was just a movie. And then there's like, hey, that was a good video game. You know what I mean? Like Detective Pikachu was good. Like I could sit through it. It wasn't bad.
The thing that I really enjoyed about Detective Pikachu is just like it seemed like there was like bits of it that seemed to like really like everyone likes to like look at the Pokedex entries and like make fun of it as just like because the video games don't really hold themselves to any of those dex entries.
Yeah.
But like that whole movie seemed kind of fun. Was kind of fun because it kind of played a lot with that. And like I know like there's the Torterra scene. Like is this like there's regular like you first see smaller Torterras, but then you enter out into the larger Torterra garden. And like in the Torterra Pokedex entry, it says like, some Pokemon like live and spend their whole lives on the back of these Pokemon. So like having these giant tortoises show up and it's just like are like the size of a giant hill is just like that feels fun because it's holding true to that. And like the whole like live their whole lives on the backs of these things is just like because it's really kind of just really more off a play of like the world tortoise, or like back when people thought like the world was on a giant tortoise. It's just like that's more what it's going to, but it's just like that movie, like just seeing Pokemon interact in a way that we've never seen in the games was just like a very fun time. And then Ryan Reynolds just like it was a very good performance. Like they hit that spot on.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds did a great job as Pikachu. Like knocked it out of the park. I mean, really, really, really did a good job. It was good. I like the attention to detail. It wasn't like Hollywood and Pokemon. It really felt like there was a little bit of passion in there, which was cool. So it definitely stood apart from other video game adaptations, and some of the Pokemon they used were really cool. Like you would think they would go with like literally the most nostalgic Pokemon known to man, right? But they were using a lot of Pokemon that I bet a lot of people had no idea even existed.
I really enjoy one of the uses that I really enjoyed was God, Loudred. Oh, like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Loudred's animation is just like the like if you really look at those and you think about the design of them, they're a bit weird because it literally ends in like I think blackness in their mouth. It's just like those that doesn't really make sense though for how old, but like I think how like having their mouth open and like seeing the back of their throat would have been kind of disturbing though.
The only thing that threw me off a little bit about the film was the villain. I don't know. I just felt like
Oh yeah, like
something
they
a
took they
little
took some
more-
leaps there.
Yeah, I was just like, really, like this I mean, that's kind of Mewtwo's character, though, right? Like
Yeah.
sophisticated, kind of. But it was I don't know. I kind of wanted something a little more campy than that. Like I felt like we could have stayed on that track and about his dad and all that. Well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, there were definitely some narrative decisions where I was like, huh, like prime example, we take Sonic the Hedgehog, right? I don't know
I
if you've
haven't seen that movie.
Immaculate.
Yeah, like,
they knocked it out of the park. I mean, like, if I'll put it like this, if Pikachu, Detective Pikachu was like a 5, Sonic the Hedgehog, in my opinion, Sonic the Hedgehog's like an 8. They knocked it out of the park with that. Like, that was a great job. Ben Schwartz, who did the voice of Sonic, really did a great job. That like felt like Sonic. Like it felt like and being a big fan of Sonic, like he's got that snarky. Like they just did a great job.
Yeah, I just didn't get around to seeing it in theaters, and now that it's out on DVD, it's just like
I'm
not sure
totally
if I want
recommend
to.
checking it out.
I'm not sure if I want to buy it right now because it's just like, it's just like, do I really want to like risk spending money on something that like I may not enjoy and like having like a copy of it just sitting around?
I would say if you can rent it on like a streaming service, I would definitely check it out. It's worth like a $2-3 for sure. Like I went in. It's actually funny. I went into
Well,
to
right now it's spooky season, so like
Yeah.
I'm watching like all the Tim Burton stuff right now.
I went into Sonic the Hedgehog with super low like I went into it to just laugh, but I like came out like wow, like that
I mean,
was
I think
a
that's
good film.
I think that's the thing that's stopping me. It's just like I've heard so much good stuff about
Yeah.
it that like now I'm just like it's not like it's the same reason that I'm like I haven't played Final Fantasy VII. It's just like ugh. Ugh. It's just like I've heard so much good stuff about it, but like there's no way that it could possibly live up to the hype. It's just like because looking at that game, it's just like it's a product of its time. It's just like if
Are we talking
you-
about the remake or the actual or like Final Fantasy VII?
the like actual Final
Okay.
Fantasy VII is all. I mean, like the remake, it seems like a point where I could jump on because it isn't like this
Okay.
giant thing that's like been hyped up. It's just like it looks like something I can like just play and have fun with, and I'm currently in the time that it was developed for. Whereas like going back to Final Fantasy VII, it's just like it's gonna feel dated to me. It's not gonna like I'm not gonna be able to experience it the same way that the people that truly love that game like really got in on the ground floor for.
So Final Fantasy VII, it's definitely it's got that that ocarina effect that news. Yeah, you feel so many people have talked about it and praised it. You felt like you've played it. Now I went into that with Final Fantasy VII, but I can say narrative alone, it's just such a gripping game. Like it's totally dated in like graphical fidelity. It looks it looks bad. Like and I like retro games. It just early 3D titles just don't look good. Well, some do, some don't. But yeah, it just doesn't look good. But the story is just so like just gets you, and it's just like I just want to find out more. I just want to find out more. I just want to find out more. Same thing with the music, but there are definitely points throughout my playthrough where I was like, I feel like I've been here and I've done this, and I know I haven't. Now, the remake, which is just I don't even know where to start with that, but the
I
idea.
think we're getting away though from
Yeah.
what it is that we want to talk
I have
about.
a lot of pent up anger at that remake, but the original, I will say, and you can get on. I think it's like I don't know how much the eShop. I think it's like $15 on the eShop and on the PlayStation Network. And heck, it's on Xbox now. I think it's definitely worth like if you catch it on a sale for like $9 to $10, I would pick it up. It's a good even even if you can only get like 10 hours out of it, it was still a good experience. I felt like even though it was kind of already played for me, I still enjoyed it. But
Right.
it is kind of tough though. I know what you mean to get into that like it's hard to it doesn't really grip you, right? Because at that point you're like, oh, I've done this, haven't I? And it is a little tough. And speaking of that, I've kind of felt that way recently with Crash Bandicoot 4. Now I haven't played it, but the only reason I'm using
I think we're getting very far away from where we originally started because I think you wanted somewhere to go. You had somewhere that you wanted to get to with video game movies, and I think we've gotten very far away from
Yes,
video
we
game
have.
movies.
Oh yeah, where was I? Jeez
Well,
Louise.
you wanted to talk about the old Monster Hunter.
Oh yeah! Wow! Holy moly! Yeah, Monster Hunter. Yeah, that's a movie that's coming out. So I think with the I don't know who's handling it. I think it's Sony. It might be Sony. So far from the teaser trailer and the official trailer they've released, don't really have the greatest expectations for it. It just
Yeah.
seems like Hollywood meets Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm not really. I don't know. I feel like, and it's a shame because they actually, the director or the producer behind the film actually met with Capcom and the Monster Hunter team and like were showing them the what they've done so far and this, that, and the fourth, and like the team behind the Monster Hunter games, they were like, yeah, it's great. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I watched the trailer and I'm like, huh?
Yeah,
I just feel like it's gonna be just really like Monster Hunter.
Yeah, like
watch it and not like I don't know. I just
the
don't think it's gonna do
trailer
well.
seems like it's throwing a lot of different ideas together. Like it looks like a lot of like Godzilla, Jurassic Park, like a little bit of like Stargate in there. It's just like it doesn't look like it has any of its own identity to me. It's just like it seems very more sci-fi than I'm like I'm not someone who really plays Monster Hunter, but like looking at Monster Hunter seems to be very more a fantasy based thing. It's just like you have some like technology and stuff in there as far as I know. But like it's just like but like having people from our world go into this other world, and it's just like this is some Stargate
Yeah.
sci-fi stuff that I just don't think is what this game needs.
Yeah, they lost
this
me
movie needs.
at the end of the trailer when one of the actors was like, "Let's close the portal," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't, just if you're gonna like make any video game adaptation, stay true to what the film was, right? Like I
I
don't
mean, the game was
to what the game was. Like I don't know, like the idea of like and realistically, in my opinion, I know there's a big divide, right? Like you have to make the film for the core gamer, and then you have to make the film for the casual audience who might not even know what Monster Hunter is. But I guarantee you that
I think there's a good movie there that hits both of those things without being sci-fi.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, there's definitely potential there, but I think like the whole, like you already have, like I was telling you earlier, you already have to suspend your disbeliefs, right? It's a freaking Monster Hunter movie, so like don't throw in like portals and like let's just you could simply start it as like, yeah, we live in this environment, like just stick with like literally like the the beginning to the end of a Monster Hunter. Like I don't know the idea, and like Mila, I don't know how to pronounce her last. I'm gonna butcher it, but so I'm not even gonna attempt it. But she's actually been in every Resident Evil film that they did. So I guess Capcom has decided to kind of continue with her, and maybe from what I've seen from some of the Resident Evil films, they're terrible films, but like they're cheesy good. Especially the early ones. But I think she'll do a good job. The other actors, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's not really going to be on the actors here. I think it's really going to be the
Monster Hunter
the
selling
script.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's just like it's just like you can only do so much with the script that you're given, and it's just like they're like a lot of what I'm seeing here is just like they're just throwing a lot of different stuff in there.
Speaking of Monster Hunter, I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I don't think I did or not. But just a quick tidbit on Monster Hunter Rise. I found this pretty interesting. It's actually running natively on the original Switch using Capcom's RE engine that they tweaked a little bit, which is really cool. Like, I love seeing that the Switch can still be pushed forward a little bit. Like, there are some moments where we get our Switch ports and it's like, wow, this is running on Switch. But, like, it's games like Monster Hunter Rise that you see, like, oh, this is a built from the ground up for the Switch, and it looks unique, and it doesn't essentially look dated, or doesn't have to go with like a different type of art style to kind of get it to mesh well with the Switch's architecture. Like it's cool. It's like a solid current gen game brought it from the Switch, which is really nice to still think that we can still get games like that on the Switch, because we're so used to seeing like these quirky ideas thrown to the Switch, kind of like see what will work, right? At least it's not like the Wii, where it's just like shovelware and like motion control titles. So it is cool to see we're still getting like core experiences like that, and that Capcom was able to accomplish that, which is really nice. Just kind of on that Monster Hunter front.
Yeah, being like it's like a lot of things that like you hear when people are talking about like like with like the new console generation, is just like, is this going to be held back by this system specs or whatever? It's just like a lot of things like nowadays kind of are optimized for being on like a sliding scale, or being able to tone down the graphics to make it work on other things. So I think going forward, I think we're gonna see a lot more usage of people better optimizing games to be on different types of hardware, because I think we're getting to this point with consoles and video games and like computers, where it's just like it's going to be very incremental things that change. It's just like, because like a lot of the things that we're seeing with the new console generation isn't really like, oh wow, what a huge jump in graphics.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest conversation right now is loading times.
Yeah.
It was just like, so moving forward, I think we're going to see a lot of the same things on different platforms, but like just like their visual fidelity and load times are going to be what really change between them.
Yeah, I'm still kind of in limbo. Like, I know for a fact I'm getting the PS5 or Series X. I know I'm getting a PS5 just because every single, excluding I wasn't really huge on the PS3. There wasn't really a lot getting me on there. But pretty much most Sony consoles, there's been an exclusive that I've felt like a system seller for me personally, and I already know Final Fantasy 16 is the system seller for me. So no matter what, I know I'm getting the system. But I still haven't felt that giddiness of like the next. It honestly just feels like the next PlayStation. It's not really like a monumental. Like, I've seen some of the videos of the load times. Like I was telling you earlier, those are insane. I mean, it's almost like instantaneously, which is so cool. Like, that's the only thing that's really like, wow, that's insane. Like, no load times. I mean, take Final Fantasy 15, take Nier Automata, even Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, those games take, especially Final Fantasy 15, that's a long game to load. And the fact that you can tell me that, like, I don't have to sit through that anymore is cool. Like, it makes me just want to replay the game just for that alone. But I'm still not getting that, like, that I don't like when this. Well, that's just because I'm a big fan of Nintendo. But with most consoles, like, there is that sense of giddiness, and you're like, and I don't know, I'm not really getting it so much. It's just like new console.
So like, I've only been like really giddy about like I've only been a day one adopter for like, I think maybe 2 or 3 systems in my life, and like for me, like it was like the 3DS because like because like
the 3DS when it first came out.
Yeah, because like I was 16 and like I had disposable income, and like
were you a part of the ambassador program?
That's a thing. That's a thing. That's gonna make me angry. Right?
Don't tell me you missed it by like a day or something.
No, here's the thing. Like, I bought one when it first came out. Like, day one adopter, bought one. Like, within the year, within the year, I lost that first one, and I had to buy a second one. And then, and I didn't find out about the ambassador program until, like, years later. And, the only, I don't really care too much about the ambassador program. The only thing, there is one game that I truly care about that I cannot play on the 3DS because of the ambassador program, and it is Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap.
Yeah.
That is, the one thing that, annoys me to no end. But, anyway, that's getting away from where I wanted to go. I was just, I've only been, a day one adopter for, the 3DS, I think the DSi, because like that was also in that time of my life where I just had disposable income and nothing better to spend my money on, apparently, and like the Switch. So those all, and like the Switch I was super dope on because Zelda. Oh, but
Great console.
oh, like, but you seem to be a lot like you have a much more higher stakes like horse in the race for all the new systems coming out, and you've been telling me about your own plans for which one you want to get and everything. Whereas like I'm personally waiting until next summer. Like I'm playing I can play the Xbox on the with xCloud on my phone, so I'm not really worried about buying the system. But like I'll get a PS5 like next summer after Horizon comes out. But this gets us to our next one of the next things we want to talk about. We want to talk about the UI video that went up the other day. So with you having a lot more personal stakes in what games in what system you're getting this, how do you feel about the UI? Did you get any big impressions off of it? Anything that you're really looking forward to there?
I like what they showed. I like the with both UIs. I like the fact that you can suspend the game. Not even suspend the game, really. You're still playing the game essentially. And you can go to the home screen and kind of see how things are going. I like the fact that you can get those tips while playing the game. That's cool too.
But
for the most part, though, when Sony's UI, it still felt like as a game system, right? It didn't feel like it was more on the entertainment side, like the Xbox, where it's still like an entertainment platform in a sense.
Did Sony say how many games you can have in a suspense state? Because the Xbox doesn't like it to have like 5 games that you can have in a suspense state. Because on the PS4 you could suspend and go back to the home menu already. Did they say how many games that you can actually have in a suspense state?
I don't know if they did or not, because I know with the PS4 you could suspend a game, but you're not essentially playing the game. Whereas the PS5 it's suspended, but you're still in the game. With the Xbox Series X, I know you could literally jump in and out of multiple games. I don't know if Sony has said anything about that. I mean, that is just amazing on Microsoft's end. You can literally jump in and out of game at this. Like, that just blows my mind.
It's interesting and it's a cool feature and it's like nice for convenience. So it's like I think you're gonna get that more if like you're playing your if you're playing not Halo, because Halo also has a multiplayer. Like let's say you're playing some single player game and then
struggle to find one.
And then it's just like, but then you get a message from your friends like, hey, let's play some Overwatch, or like let's jump into a round of Halo. So like you can jump from that first game you're playing back into your multiplayer game and go jump into that real quick, which I think is cool. But like as for me, as someone who plays more single player narrative focused games, and like the only multiplayer game I've ever really cared about was Splatoon. Yeah. It's just like that's not a huge feature for me. So it's more so like the loading between areas is really something I'm looking forward to.
In terms of kind of where I want to go with next generation, as I've already told you, and I've already said earlier, definitely on the PS5 boat, and I'll get it, by the end of this year, whenever I do. In terms of Microsoft side of things, I do want a Series X. I don't know when I'll get one, but the only reason I want a Series X is, and I've been just shouting this to the moon, because I love how transparent Microsoft has been with the Series X and what you can get. But
the big thing that they keep saying that I appreciate is like it is the best place to play your Xbox games. Like and that is very much true. It's just like you can like stream, like you could get xCloud on your computer, on your phone, or whatever, but like that's going to be a very it's not going to be the optimized way to play the game. Yeah. Whereas playing natively on your Xbox Series X is definitely going to be the best way to play those games.
What I really like about the the Series X and what Microsoft has done is it to me is like a hub for Xbox. Like you can literally play. It's backwards compatible with the original, and mind you, not like every single game, but still backwards compatible with the original Xbox. The 360, the Xbox One. So it's just like you're telling me that I can buy this like all in once. Like I can dive deep into Microsoft's history with this one system. Heck yeah,
And
like,
now
that's
that they're
awesome.
like with a lot of their recent purchases, that's a very big library.
Yeah.
Like, what I was kind of upset about like a week or two ago is just like they added Brutal Legend to XCloud, but like it's only
Wait, is
on.
that the game with Jack Black?
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's a fun game. It's a weird game because it's like metal. Like it is a metal all like rock metal game, but it's like all the big parts of that game revolve around a real-time strategy battle system where you put on a rock show and you have to move your troops around on the field. I was just like, it's such a weird and quirky game, but like it has such a like a fun voice. It's just like, but like you're now with Bethesda, that's going to be on Game Pass, and it's like
Yeah,
you can
wow,
buy
I
an
forgot about that.
Xbox and
They
then
bought
like
Bethesda.
get on
They
Game Pass,
actually,
and you really have like you're gonna have this huge, giant
yeah.
like giant plethora of games to play.
I literally forgot. They actually didn't even buy Bethesda. They bought the company that owns Bethesda. Um, the only thing, like speaking of the like just subscription services as a game, and I've told you this before, and this is just subscription services in general. I hate continuously paying into something, and I'm I'm just so cheap. The way that I work is like, let's say I'm using XCloud and I'm not utilizing it every day. I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth. When in reality that's not the case, but like I just feel like I'm pressured into constantly using this because I'm paying for it. Whereas if I buy Gears 5 when it's on sale for like $20, I'm like, I'll play it whenever, and I'll still get my money's worth for sure. Because $20, I'll probably spend like 15 hours in the game. Boom.
I mean, I'll be interested to see where I get with that because like right now with XCloud, like I like got in like on the Microsoft All Access program like 2 years ago,
That
and
is
like
a different story.
I'm still riding that. So like, and I think that expires in like November or something. So like I know like I'm definitely not playing Game Pass every day, and I'm not making a huge use of it. So it's just like it'll be interesting to see whether I stay on, in a month or two. But I imagine there's definitely going to be months where like I at least like pay for the month and like play some new game, and we'll see how much I really stay on it.
That I do like the Xbox All Access because it's just that that X amount commitment period, whatever you decide to go with. I think it's only 2 years, but that I love. Like you get everything, right? You literally get everything. You pay the flat fee every month, and then when it's all said and done, you keep the console or whatever method you decided to go with. But
Yeah, or you
that is a different story. That I do like. I do like that idea.
and you can pay it off as you like because like
Oh, you can?
yeah, like
So you're not tied to like a contract or anything. You can pay it off at any point in
Yeah,
time.
it's just like it's like a credit card. It's just like, but like you don't get. I didn't get charged any interest when I was doing it. But
Oh,
like
awesome.
it's just like you have your minimum payment that you have to make every month. But you can pay more and get it done ahead of time. So if you're like a bit hard on cash and you don't want to pay that, if you don't have the $500 up front or
Yeah.
all for it, it's just like you're gonna like if you get an Xbox Series X, you're most likely gonna get Game Pass, or
Yeah.
you're probably gonna get your Xbox Gold membership or whatever as well. So it's just like you can pay for that, like you can sign up for this for the next 2 years, and like you can pay it off as you like. Like you could pay it off in 3 months, you could pay it off in 4 months, or you can take the whole time. It's just like it's just like it's very just trying to very much get you in the door and say like and get you in there and like not have there be a reason for you to say, well, I don't have the money right now for it.
I know that that GameStop's going to be offering a payment plan like that too, and I believe it won't charge you interest.
I mean it's the
I
same
think you
thing. It's
have
the
for
Xbox
next gen consoles.
I'm pretty sure it's the same thing because
Well, they have EA Access, and then GameStop has something called Quad Pay, where essentially, I don't know if it's exclusive to the next gen platforms or you can use it for any purchase, but essentially, from what I've read, you as long as you make pay it off within the time frame, you don't get charged interest. And you can choose between like 4 payments of something, 6 payments or something like that. But it's definitely something to look into if people do plan on buying next gen consoles. Because if you're even the way I look at stuff like that is even if I do have the disposable cash right there, if you're telling me I can build my credit and I can just pay it off and like not, yeah, I'll do that. Which is for GameStop. I don't know if that's going to be exclusive to what GameStop's offering, because that would certainly help them too. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see where we go with next gen consoles and kind of how Sony and Microsoft. I mean, we know Nintendo. Nintendo's already stated that they're staying with their core platform, and that's how they're staying. They literally have already said like, yeah, after the Switch, expect another home console. That's just that's where their money is. They're going to try to monetize their IPs and other avenues, and which they have been doing to some degree. Sony's probably going to stay because when you look at it, at the end of the day, these consoles still sell. I mean, we'll take the Xbox One, which is performing the worst. It's still at around like 50 million units sold. So money was made. I don't know, software side, I don't know how many units they sold. We take the PS4, it's at almost 115 million units sold. Money has been made. And we take the Switch, which Nintendo does not sell at a loss. So they're making money with that. And they're almost at, I would say now they're probably close to 70 million units sold. So money is still being made. Console sales aren't going down. They're still going to stick around. And I know Phil Spencer has said that like they're not going away from it. I know Sony said they're not going away from it. And of course, Nintendo's not going to go away from it. What I'm curious to see is what we're going to see when it comes to games. Because I am not a huge fan on games as a service. I just don't like it. I don't mind DLC, but I like the idea of buying my game, enjoying whatever that one-time purchase offered me, and then on my merry way.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I think there are some games that could benefit more from being games as a service. Like, I'm not a sports guy, so I'm definitely not like a FIFA or a Madden thing. But like to me, on the outside looking in, like you can it may be completely different for the people that actually play these games, but it's just like it looks every game like every year it just seems like a new patch to me. It's just like, okay, well, you got your updated roster, you got like some updated mechanics and everything. It's just like, whereas I feel like I think like those games would be a lot more cooler with those games. It's just like it's a game as a service. Like you get it, like you pay for your like whatever the newest version is every year, and then like you pay a smaller fee every year to keep getting the next, like to get the new updated roster, to get like the updated like the new patch, and then like every like 3 or 4 years they put out like a new base version where like that's like that big new graphical leap, or that big like where it really changes it up, rather than it being just like, every year you're gonna buy your new FIFA and then your last copy is gonna be worth like $3.
So I have a theory behind that, right? If a game was gonna be live service, FIFA and Madden, those would be the games to do it, no doubt. But
they sell like hotcakes as they are. They're not going to change.
Yes,
when like they're getting the sales that they do.
Now, exactly. That's my theory, is that the only reason EA hasn't done that is, I mean, we're on Madden 21, FIFA. I don't even know what, NBA 2K 21.
Yeah, those are coming out.
So essentially, they have just been conditioned. Well, a large amount of that audience has been conditioned to go to their local GameStop, their local Target, their local Best Buy, Walmart, whatever it may be, and buy that and maybe 2 other games once a year. So I don't know if EA is going to come in and be like I think about it like this. Like the casual audience just wants to get their game and be on their way, right?
Yeah.
So for some of them, let's say maybe 30% of that audience, this is just literally just me going off the top of my head. Let's say they're like, wait a minute, I got to put my credit card in here and do all this, do all that. I just want to buy the game and be on my way. And I think EA knows that. I think they know that they have this audience that gets ushered into their local store every year, buys that game on their merry way. And I think that's probably a part of why they haven't kind of gone with that live service yet. Because take a look at any casual audience's game library for an Xbox One and PS4. You'll find FIFA, you'll find NBA 2K, you'll find Madden, and maybe Call of Duty, and that's it. That's literally it. So if you're telling them, you're essentially for all we know, the past 21 years they've done that, and now you're saying, wait a minute, I don't have to do that anymore. Like, wait, what? It's just one of those things. It's just they don't want to jeopardize that. And they'll probably and even some might have migrated to buying it digital now, for all we know. But they know that once a year they make that purchase and they're on their merry way for some. So because it's kind of just like that series staple, like I don't know if EA is going to make that jump of like shaking things up like that. Like, oh no, it's a live service now. Because some people could just be like, oh no, what? Because some people might look at this I'm getting something new every year, when in reality, it's probably
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's about it today. Do you have anything you want to end off on, or
anything coming out soon that you're looking forward to? Besides,
well, this month,
in the next week or two,
we do have Pikmin coming out at the end of this month. I'm interested in it. I don't know if I'll be an early adopter. Crown Tundra, I'm definitely going to be working on more of 3D titles. But where can they find you?
I'm not really much of a social media person, but if you really want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram as Shoestring Construction. Just need to double check how I actually have that on Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's shoestring_construction on Instagram. And what about you?
Well, obviously, you can find me here on YouTube. I do have an Instagram that I post somewhat frequently on. It's just Neo_Arcadia1, and I'll have a link to both of our Instagrams down below.
Mine's actually shoe_string_construction at Instagram. I need to have a better one than that. It's a lot of underscores.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, bye-bye.